Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, it's time that I showed you some absolutely beautiful cards, which are coming out in Japan, and some of them are a little bit weird, and some of them are a little bit cool, and all of them are exceedingly relevant. And as we begin this video, huge shout out to the lovely Antoine Boulet for some of the information for this video, and huge shout out to the lovely Primal Lugia of PokerGuardian.com for helping out with some of the information and some of the images. Both lovely dudes. So, where should we start? Let's start with Dedenne. There are two GXs, which are getting rather beautiful artworks. Now, these are coming out in Tag All-Stars over in Japan, which is largely a reprint set. So, maybe we get these in Cosmic Eclipse, or maybe we get them as promos, or in some other separate little product. They won't be in Sword and Shield, put it that way, because the cards look different in Sword and Shield. So, Dedenne then, we're getting some fancy artwork. It looks like this. And it's clearly wonderful. Now, it's the same Dedenne GX that we've had for a little while, though it does, of course, bear pointing out that Dedenne is firstly amazing, and everybody plays it in their deck, or at least a vast majority of people do. The ability lets you discard your hand and draw 6 cards, though it is limited to once per turn. Clearly a phenomenal card. And with the new turn 1 rules coming in soon, that mean we're not going to be able to play supporters on our first turn, and we cannot attack going first on our first turn, well, yeah, we're down to item cards and Pokemon abilities. And in terms of turn 1 abilities to help you get set up, nothing beats Dedenne. It's beautiful, it's lovely, it's going to be a staple for the next year. Yeah, you should probably be expecting this to, let's just say, not be cheap. And shout out to the artist here. Now, I'm afraid my pronunciation is probably not great, but Kanahai? Let's go for that. He's done a few Pokemon cards here and there as far as I'm concerned, most notably the Snorlax from Unbroken Bonds, which is beyond beautiful. Now, there is also that new Eevee, which is coming in Tag All-Stars. We don't need to spend a huge amount of time talking about this. I did do a video all about this card recently, so I'll pop a link to that one in the description, and I'll let you peruse it at your leisure. Now, as well as that, we're also getting a bunch of full art supporters, 3 to be precise, that we haven't actually seen so far. And these are of varying usefulness. So let's take Blue's Tactics. Came out in Unified Minds, and it says that at the end of this turn, you draw until you've got 8 cards in your hand. It's not really seen a huge amount of play. The problem is it doesn't help you this turn. It sets you up for next turn, unless your opponent does something like drop a reset stamp, in which case it doesn't even set you up for next turn. It's a little bit unreliable and a little bit slow, and it's not seen a huge amount of play. But we're getting a beautiful full art version of it, where it is essentially confirmed that Blue went for Charmander. Love the artwork. Now, of course, if Blue went for Charmander, that must mean that Red went for Bulbasaur, and that's what we see on this alternate art Red's Challenge card. Red with Bulbasaur. Personally, I went for Squirtle, and I am more than a little bit upset to see my boy being given no representation whatsoever on these cards. Boo, hiss, etc. But all of that aside, we're getting a full art version of Red's Challenge. Now, Red's Challenge is a card that does see a little bit of play here and there. You discard 2 cards from your hand to search for any card. Now, when I say a little bit of play here and there, it is very much worth noting that Tord Reklev, and let's face it, Tord's a pretty good player, he went and won a regional this past weekend over in Cologne, and would you believe it, 2 copies of Red's Challenge, which I think means it's likely that Red's Challenge might start seeing just a little bit more play. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, yes. It's a very good card, sees a fair amount of play, expect it to be good. and we're getting a full art version of Sightseer. Now, this one's a little bit interesting because Sightseer for a little while was played in a whole bunch of decks like Malamar decks that wanted to discard energy, and it seems like recently no one is playing it. It seems to have all but dropped off the face of the earth in terms of playability. Sightseer lets you draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand, but before you do so, you may discard as many cards as you like from your hand. So you drop any cards you don't desperately need, and it lets you draw a bunch of cards that you might well need. And it's fine. Like I say, it's seen plenty of play. It's not really a staple in any decks at the moment, as far as I'm aware. Please do correct me in the comments if you disagree. It's fine. It's cool that we finally get a full art version of it. Let's face it, right? We've been waiting a little while. I mean, to go and put this into a little bit of context, Sightseer actually came out back in Lost Thunder, and we're multiple sets past Lost Thunder now, and we're finally getting a full art version. Took its time, yeah? But I think the news that has probably excited the most number of people is that Ooyama, who is a fairly well-known Japanese artist, has actually gone and illustrated 7 reprinted item cards, all of which are incredibly relevant. Like, genuinely, all of which are really, really good and see a lot of play. And now you're going to be able to play them as these wonderful Ooyama prints. Now, he is, of course, no stranger to the Pokemon trading card game. He's illustrated a bunch of cards, my favourite of which being the Wailord from Guardians Rising. You can see there is very much a style going on here. Now, the most famous of illustrations that he's done is probably the Tropical Mega Battle Promo Executor, which was actually printed in dual language. Now, it was also given out at the first Tropical Mega Battle in Hawaii in 1999. So, yeah, it's hard to get that one, though it was reprinted in Evolutions ever so slightly differently. Shall we say that print is a little bit easier to get hold of. Now, I was under the impression he'd never actually done a trainer card before. I am wrong. Turns out he actually illustrated Lucky Stadium back in Neo Destiny, but bearing in mind that's the last time he illustrated a trainer card, I think it's probably fair to say this is quite a big deal. And he's gone and illustrated 7 of them, and like I've said, they're all like flat out staples. So if you want to play a lightning deck, you'll probably want to play Electro Power, because you get to do an extra 30 damage. Yeah, he's done one of those. And you're probably going to want to play Electromagnetic Radar, lets you discard 2 cards from your hand, and then you can search for 2 Pokemon EX or GX as long as they're lightning types. Well, between Dedenne, Pikachu and Zekrom, Zera Aura, and Raichu and Alolan Raichu, I think it's fair to say that there's a few we're going to want to go and get. Now, if you're feeling a bit less lightning and a bit more psychic or dragon, you're probably going to want to play Mysterious Treasure, a phenomenal card that is a staple in all psychic and dragon decks. Discard a card from your hand, search for a psychic or dragon Pokemon. We're in a format with very poor Pokemon search. It's amazing. Although if you just want to search Pokemon in a general deck, there's a very good chance you'll be playing Pokemon Communication that allows you to swap a Pokemon in your hand for a Pokemon in your deck. Well, great news. He's done one of those as well. And then we've got some more general cards. Now, Acrobike sees play in a bunch of decks. It's not an every deck staple, but it sees a bit of play. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one in your hand, discard the other. There's one of those. One that does see play in, I would say probably the majority of decks, or at least a very large amount, is Pokegear 3.0, and we have a copy of Pokegear 3.0. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, find a supporter card, put it into your hand. Wonderful for consistency. And then Reset Stamp, which goes in every deck nowadays. Every deck plays Reset Stamp. Your opponent shuffles a hand into their deck and draws a number of cards equal to their remaining prizes. It's a great comeback card. It's an absolute staple in every deck. Every deck plays it. So, yeah. These are awesome. These are really cool cards. Some people won't like the style. That's fine. You don't have to play them. We've got other prints of them. But if you do like them, there's enough cards here that you can make quite a chunk of your deck into Ooyama trainers. And okay, it's not all of them, but come on. They're pretty cool. I love all this new artwork. I love different artwork. And it doesn't really matter whether you like the particular print or not, whether you're a fan of the particular artist or not. Just the fact that they're out there is really quite phenomenally awesome. But at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about all of these new cards, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.